days. I hope it gets better for you. So welcome back to another live Q&A. Oh, there went my light already. I was worried if the bulb would work or not. But anyways, battery doesn't work. But we're here for you to help you guys out with your freshwater fish keeping adventure that you're going on, no matter if you just started or been doing it a long time. And hopefully you guys hear me and my mic's not too low. So let me know how it sounds on the other end there. Go ahead and get in the live chat here. But I hope you guys are all doing great. Ready for another weekend. Excited. Gonna get stuff ready and done to set up a vendor booth at the Aquatic Expo, which is going to be in Fort Mill, South Carolina. If you guys never heard of it and you're in the Carolinas area, check it out on the aquaticexpo.com. They have all the information there. A lot of freshwater, saltwater vendors. There's also speakers and other things going on. So if you guys aren't doing anything, not this week, but next weekend, February 1st and 2nd, the Aquatic Expo will be going down, and I will be there. And excited to meet some of you guys. And hello, everybody coming into the chat. Good to see you guys all in here. And thanks for letting me know you can hear me fine with this mic down. Because, sometimes I wear my mic too high and it rubs on my beard. But it's kind of hard for me to hear it on the other end on how it sounds with having it down here or how it'll even pick up. So having your guys' feedback, helpful on that. And thank you, Lady LRB, for posting up the Aquatic Expo there. But the main reason for being here is to help you guys out with your questions on keeping aquariums. If something happened to you this week, I know sometimes we may not want to, or let me say, put forth saying what's going on to our aquariums just because we may be shy or embarrassed. But don't ever feel like that here. Always feel able to ask questions, because really that's how we all learn. And we all go through different things in this aquarium hobby, no matter how much we've been doing it. Tyler Cornett says Corybacteria infection treatment. So I would say if you have a filter, let the filter stay dirty. More beneficial bacteria in there, the better it can help that bacteria infection. And what is it that you are actually seeing on the Corydoras? Is it sometimes Corydoras will get cysts? So if you have harder water, and I've even seen it happen in softer water, but they'll get like these white cysts, and sometimes we'll think that they're all kinds of these things, and they're not. But if it's like a fin rot situation or something like that, let me know like what you actually see on the Cory cat, and then we can actually make sure that it is a bacteria infection in case it's not. In the case of it being a cyst or something, the best thing to do is nothing. It'll just kind of work its way. It's just happens sometimes. And I don't think I've ever seen one actually die from it. Just looks like something's wrong with them. And then there are some bacterial medicines out there. The only thing with those bacterial medicines, which many people have had success with them doing things, but sometimes they can crash your aquarium too. Because if you have a lot of good beneficial bacteria in there and you're trying to kill bacteria, it not only kills the negative ones, but it can also kill positive ones. And that's why it's always good to either move them into a hospital tank for those kind of treatments. That way you don't crash like the whole tank and a bunch of other fish suffer. But then again, you're going to be like, oh, well, the bacteria is in my tank. What could it be? And also, is it like sometimes eating, if you have rotten food that sits and fish eat, And sometimes that'll cloud up the water, making it seem like there's a bacterial infection when it could just be that rotten food. Okay, Tyler Cornett says it's like a cyst. Yeah, best thing to do is just kind of let it go its route. I wouldn't like start trying to medicate or anything like that. You don't have to do any of that. It's just it happens sometimes. Very good, Tyler. That's good to hear. And that's all from experience too. This isn't like stuff I read from a book. These are things that I have learned through experience. How's the Pisces? Yeah, I was worrying about it. Yeah, I was wondering. I heard about that. It says 115-mile-an-hour wind in Scotland. Power was okay. My letterbox broke from flapping. I know over in that area, like even Ireland, all that stuff, like just covered the whole island. Just the storm was huge. But glad to hear you're doing all right. I always get a new letterbox, but you're safe. That's what's important. Go with the flow. Aquatic says, Lucas, are you coming down to see Skipper next weekend? I wish I could. I've got to go to the Aquatic Expo now. I ended up getting a booth up there, and unfortunately, I can't be in two places at once as much as I would love to. But definitely tell them all hello for me. Sounds like it's going to be a fun time. Oh yes, Lady LRB, thank you for reminding me. So this week, weather's going to be good. So all you guys that have been so patient with the orders, thank you so much, because honestly, I don't know how we would stay afloat without them at this point. And this week, they are going out. It's going to be warm enough. Who knew it was going to snow in Florida? Luckily, or well, I don't know about luckily. It would have been kind of neat maybe to see a little snow. But we didn't get any here. We were just kind of south of it. But regardless, even if it's nice in other places, which most places it wasn't, it was still single digits in many. It's still got to go through all that. And if the fish get stuck on the airport or in somebody's mail truck in the cold, just wasn't worth the risk. But this week, everything should be good. Just those single digits. I mean, you can use heat packs, but they only do so good. And usually, like around 30, like around freezing, they're all right. But you start getting way lower, a lot harder on the shipments. AL Bonbon, can we do anything about the smell? So, the smell of your tank is actually a real important indicator. So, if your tank stinks, then you got an imbalance of some sort. So, you either don't have enough beneficial bacteria and mature enough water to eat waste, and sometimes that smells, or maybe you got a bacteria bloom and sometimes that smells. Once in a while, a fish will float up and that smells too, but not often that it really does smell. Just because a healthy environment, a healthy tank, should smell like earth. Like it should have like, if any smell, a earthy smell, to where you really just smell like a dirt smell. So if you have anything other than like a dirt smell, and that's something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong. So the things you can do about that is either add more plants, uh, less water change, or let me say smaller water changes. That way you can let the beneficial bacteria build up more to help fix the bioload issues. And you could also put a filter on it. But without a filter, the best thing to do is let nature kind of marinate more for it. Do smaller water changes, like 20%. And if it's like a tank you ain't water changed for a long time, and like say you had a bunch of like shrimp in it or snails, and they got to a certain population and they crashed out and then just kind of created a white cloud and created that smell. Usually that's about the only time I ever get a smell, is if like something overpopulated and it crashes out and I ain't changed the water for a while. Then it'll kind of smell, and then I'll be like, all right, I need to water change that and get it fixed. And usually that's good enough to fix it, is doing some water changing. Which I will back to back smaller water changes, just kind of to get some fresh water in there. But rarely does it happen. Usually, once a population of like shrimp or snails do find their overpopulation point, they're actually really smart about not going over that population point, which is really kind of crazy because it really says volumes as far as like their hierarchies, how they actually socialize and what they do learn and know. It's kind of crazy what they learn from their environments and how smart they really are. Billy Villasys says, always good to see you here. Billy says, so I was on the fence between doing a tank services side business or breeding for profit and decided on the latter. I'm gonna do a couple large scale guppy projects. Any general advice, sir? So you say, I don't know which one the latter was. The second one? Oh, because I thought the latter was kind of like, yeah, like the second choice or not the first choice. Right, right. Well, let me just say, you could make, right now, you could probably make a lot more money doing tank services as a side business as you can with breeding for profit. Now, you're going to do large scale guppy projects. Any general advice? Really, that all comes down to marketing. Only every business is only as good as they can market themselves. So even if you had all the guppies, you got to make sure that you have the marketability for the guppies. Like, what are you going to do with them? That's the best advice I could give to you about that. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the breeding for profit is pretty saturated because a lot of people want to do this, which I don't blame them because I'm one of those people myself. And in my opinion, you could definitely make more money in the tank services. But that then again, that's kind of your personal choice. Would you rather go out to other places and just maintain that stuff and then kind of have your own stuff at home? Or do you just want to like breed? Like really choose which one you want to do. Or who says you can't do a little bit of both, really? That way, if the breeding's not going good for you, you at least got some residual or backup income coming in from doing the maintenance. I don't even think there's a demand for that where I'm at. Yeah, case 746 in says it was coldest in 20 years in South Indiana. Dang. Well, I know it got up into the singles, but I also remember nights where it was like -40 wind chill up there. Now that's with the wind chill, but it would get negatives. I don't know about South Indiana, but I did see it was pretty cold. Never fun, especially when you got tanks, because it's like, oh, if that power goes out, make sure you hold that heat in. House of Pisces says, I watched Joey's tour. Interesting to see another perspective. Didn't know Joey is colorblind either. Yeah, I didn't really know either. I think I remember him saying that before, or maybe he made a video with those colorblind glasses. I don't know. But yeah, he mentioned that a couple times. Um, but it was super interesting to see his perspective, even especially on how he filmed. because he approaches it completely different than like I've seen a lot of people who do fish room tours. Um, just because he views aquariums and just the whole part of YouTube a lot different. He's got an eye for like trying to grab what people want to see or hear or learn or know. And plus, we didn't have as uh, enough time to actually do like a full on tour. So even though I spent all the time scraping and getting the windows nice, and some of the tanks still look kind of rough because some of them I still didn't even get the water changed. So whatever. But anyways, that video is out there. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Joey's become a great friend of mine. Like he said in the video, we're kind of like best friends now. And who would have thought it too? And I know some of you guys that watch me, not a fan of his, and you know, a lot has to do with that Alex thing, which was just so petty, and the fact that that got pushed to as far as it has with a lot of you guys. I mean, I understand you. You all kind of got your reasons, but I don't know. I think it was way blown out of proportion. Anyways, I love the guy. Let's see. AZBC are the maculosus you are sending out at breeding size. So no, they are still pretty small. They're not far from breeding size though. Give them a couple months. Do water changes on them. E746N says I have walked in my fish room and just told me to check water parameters. So more than likely, it's either a die off on something, especially if you're in cold southern Indiana, excuse me, and you're not prepared for that cold coming on some tanks. Maybe it affected some fish. Maybe they died out. Sometimes excess food can rotten out and smell too. Not always the parameters. But see, it's a lot different for me because I keep more natural aquariums. So a lot of like anything within the parameters, nitrate would be like, I guess, the main one people would worry about. But with my aquariums, for my plants and everything else, like I dose nitrates in there. There's enough beneficial bacteria to cycle those through that it doesn't become an issue. But yeah, if you walk into your fish room and you smell something bad, best thing to do is to follow your nose, and then it will lead you to that tank that's off, and then look at it. If there's like shrimp deaths or fish deaths, then that's your obvious telltale to why it stinks. Not necessarily the parameters. Aquaball says, "What brand is your favorite tank brand and why?" I would say Aqueon is my favorite tank brand, and the reason is for the simple fact that I could go to Petco and I could get them for super cheap, and they've lasted me for a long time. And for bang for the buck, hard to beat. And they usually do those sales like at least a few times a year now, like quarterly or something, or maybe even more. Now, if I had to go with a custom, I don't know, hard to tell. There is an acrylic place that I saw on Instagram that's in Orlando. I don't know if I should talk about it too much, but they be setting up some prices. I'm just like, oh, I wish I had a barn. Well, my favorite brands are the ones that don't leak. Definitely Aquarium. Fishy Friends Aquatic says, have you started the Skittle packs again? You know what? I haven't. I haven't. Usually when I do start one of those Skriddle tanks, I end up putting fish in it. I kind of been putting fish in a bit of my shrimp tanks too. Cause shrimp just or fish just keep taking over. And as far as like, because Caradinas go real slow, and there's only so many Neo Caradina colors, and I don't know. I feel like I've been through the Neo Caradina gauntlet so much that I don't know. I've been into fish way more. But I should. I don't know. I should get back into that. Well, one day, I'm sure I will at some point. And circle back. Fishella says, "What is the temp in your fish room now? Sorry if you're already talked about it. Running like a maniac and sticking heater in fish tanks in southern Florida. Well, I hope you get them warmed up. Um, so it's mid 70s in my barn. Heat's been kind of constantly running though, especially at night. We've actually had to keep our water running so it doesn't freeze. Supposed to get 28 here. And luckily, I've got enough aquariums in my fish barn that it actually helps hold the heat a lot. So it would take quite a bit of cooling to actually bring things down. But the best thing to do is get a radiator heater for your space if you really need to warm things up. That way you don't have to run a bunch of different heaters. But it also depends on what you got. If you already got heaters, run those. If you got a space heater, run that. AZBC says, "What breeding project are you most excited about right now?" So actually, no, I guess it wasn't really a meant to be project, and it's how most of my breeding actually happens. But I've been breeding goldfish. I bred them a little bit in a 55-gallon, and I put them in the pond, and they're just like I got babies galore. I pulled like 20 some babies out, and some of them are getting pretty decent size too, chubby little things. They're so cool. So I have been excited about that. But besides that, it's all been kind of the general same breeding, like rainbow fish, cichlids, and just things that kind of breed themselves for the most part. And there hasn't been like, I think too, with it being winter, because a lot of my breeding projects I'll be trying to do outside more than I do inside. So I don't know. I kind of feel like a lot of things are just holding on right now so I can get back outside. As far as excitement for them, been doing them for a long time. But I am excited about the goldfish. No, they're just goldfish, but I never even planned on breeding goldfish at all. And it just started happening, which I guess I should make a video about. A lot of videos I should make. Need to. Mario Valesco, what's up? Good to see you in here, Mario. Says, "What's up, Lucas? Happy Friday. I know it's all preference, but what fish do you find to be the most overrated?" The most overrated? Most overrated. I don't know. It's really hard to say what would be the most overrated just because, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Overrated fish. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like, how do you overrate a fish? I like so many fish. I would say any of those hybrid ones that are coming from China that shouldn't even exist. Chinese algae eaters, there said. That's the one I don't like the most. Although they're kind of cool in their own regard, they're just really hard to catch and be buttheads sometimes. Oh, good to see you, Priscilla M. Wesley Green says, "Did you get any flagfish fry this summer?" So I didn't. I had like one baby from the little ecosystem I had them in, but nothing like really write home about. And they're kind of like more like trickle spawners. So unless you're like target breeding them, it's hard to get any kind of numbers out of them. And since they just kind of they grow outside in nature around me, I don't know. It's not like a high priority project or breed for me. I really don't have any priority breeds right now, which is kind of weird. But I'm also kind of at a like odd moment with the business and not being able to ship, not really even like I don't know what all is left on stock on my website because I haven't been able to ship. And so I don't really have funds to be like there's an auction this weekend. Um, but I don't know what I really can't be spending money on new fish as much as I would like to too. Plus, I would really like to get my water change system and things set up better too before I get more fish. Like I could have them with it, but I just, it'd be better. Wait, I really got to focus on getting that water changed and water better in the barn. Fishy Friends Aquatic says, "Do you have any at Pistos?" So I don't, but I bet they would absolutely love my water. I might get into Pistos again. I was thinking about getting into some rare Plegos and a Pistos. Or not the Pistos, but I am thinking it now. I don't know. I don't know what to really. I feel like I've already went down a lot of the rabbit holes. I know there's a lot of fish out there still that I haven't kept, but really I got to go do some digging. And my club's been working on a BAP program, which if you guys know what a BAP program is, it's a breeding award program for the club, and hopefully that'll bring in rare strains and specimens of fish. Because when I lived in Midwest, that was the thing about Midwest, and it's kind of funny because you come down to Florida and you would think that the variety would be a lot more vast when it's not. It's more like the streamlined fish that you'll find in a store and stuff like that because a lot of that stuff is farmed here. Now, granted, there is like cubby holes between the clubs and what they do. Like the Space Coast, I know they've got a breeding awards program. Tampa's got a breeding award program. So sometimes you'll get a little more variety there. But when I was in the Midwest and all the fish clubs in the Midwest, the variety was so more extensive. Um, with the GCCA, that's the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association. You have MASSI, the Missouri Aquarium Society Incorporated. You had the Youngs people in Youngstown. Um, there's quite a few. There's actually quite a few different Columbus ones. And then you got the Louisville Club. You got ones up in Michigan. All kinds of clubs over there in the Midwest. No, I'm not saying them all, but let me just say it's a lot easier to find more variety of fish up there. Of ones that are like, ooh, I ain't never seen that. Joshua Hawkins says, recently have been hearing KG Tropics about Fins and Fury. How was it in the ring? It was awesome. It was crazy. It was quite an experience. I wasn't really, I was going through a lot before then because I had like sun poisoning and was trying to get over a fever and stuff. But like to be in the ring doing all that, and I've always kind of wanted to do something like that. I don't know. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Couldn't ask for a better opponent to have done it with. And I mean, I'll be honest, like Joey looked like he was King Kong jumping and hopping around in that ring. I was like, man, I got to fight this guy. Then at the same time, I'm like, he's going to tire himself out a little bit. And it was a really good match. If you guys haven't seen the match, like it was like full on battle time the whole time. It was quite the battle. It was fun. And it went to decision. Billy Villas says, I keep hearing about these Chinese hybrids Couldn't find anything specific. What are they crossing? Honestly, I don't know the names of them. I've seen them and heard about them when I saw them because I was like, yeah, no, I've never seen that fish before. And then they told me what it was and what made all the sense of why I've never seen it. When you just say they're out there, though, can't tell you exactly what they were because I was just kind of like, I don't know, I was just so dumbfounded by that. I'm like, ooh, let me write that down. Let me really get into this, which I guess I probably, I don't know, maybe I should have. Queen Blood Ghosting says Lucas has 9 lives. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Shoot, if I was a cat, I think my 9 lives would already been up. I've been lucky many times. Thankfully, have survived quite a few different things in my life, but for sure. And I'm trying not to count, but God be looking out. Let me just say that much. God be looking out. He's like, nope, not yet for you, buddy. But thank you, Fish Ella, for becoming a member. Really appreciate that. Support is very, very helpful. And I need to get back to more member content for you guys. I'm hoping here, like, once things kind of settle down with the weather and stuff, because we used to do a bit of the member stuff outside. I do more lives for you guys. I don't know. We'll see. My time should be freeing up here too. Dennis Engel says, "What's a good RO system? 100 gallons a day." So it really depends on your need, how many tanks you have, how much you want from it. So you're going to get about 100 gallons a day, maybe 75 gallons a day. I would say between there. And so kind of add that in. Is that enough to last you for the week or however you need it to last you? House of Pisces says, for me, cichlids most overrated anyway. Mm, I think there's just so many types of cichlids. And honestly, a lot of people don't hardly even scratch the surface of the cichlid hobby. In comparison of all the different types out there, it is crazy. It is crazy from the little ones to the big ones. And I can see how the big ones are cool to watch. If you got a big tank and stuff like that, and there's so many different types, so many. It's kind of like having bluegill in your tank, which I think is fun to watch. Ish Lopez says, I have a community guppy tank. These little guys are like rabbits. Do I need to worry about inbreeding? So for the most part, you don't have to worry about inbreeding. They just kind of just that's what they do. But if you do want to deepen the gene pool, you can mix them up and have like one tank of one and one tank of another one, and that's how they kind of straighten out lines and really work genetics in. But the thing is even though later down the road you're going to want to take some of those and mix them with the other ones, it's always kind of best in a new tank opposed to a established tank because sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, so guppies will have hierarchies, and sometimes other males won't be accepting of the other males, and sometimes the females, same thing. And so you can get some die off sometimes with mixing, um, even if it's the same group. If they've been into their own tanks for a while, if you mix them together, sometimes there can be some fighting. So just watch out for that. And Sia Llewellyn, thank you for being a member of 15 months. Always good to see you in here, Messiah. Oh, and Aquarium Fantasy is back. Good to see him too. Good to see a lot of you guys. I can't shout you guys out all, but Aquarium Fantasy, he's been huge, huge, huge support here of the channel. Well, that sounds really cool, Billy. Sorry, I can't read all that for you guys, but you guys scrolling, you guys saw it. AZBC says, do you have anything new going on the site this month? So, that's the biggest thing. Is this week we'll finally get shipments out that have been waiting due to weather and holidays. And then I can finally, after this week, really see what I can put on there, what I've got left, and I'm going to revamp it. Because I wasn't going to go through and like put new things on either if I knew I couldn't really ship them. So hopefully soon, like Thursday or Friday, should have that stuff done. At least hopefully before. Oh, but I'll have the Aquatic Expo too. So I may not even, I probably shouldn't update it until Monday. We'll see. So I'm going to be taking, I don't know what there, but definitely some stuff. Plants, probably take some shrimp, definitely guppies and endlers, and I don't know. Spec V Turbo says, Lucas, been a while. Yeah, always good to see you. Says, did you get your nymph and dragonflies under control? So I did my best of trying to catch them at night. That was the best way to get rid of them, I found. And I would say I had it fairly under control, like within my tubs. As far as like the bigger, longer ponds, forget about it. Like it was so hard to get them all out, which I think I did for the most part for most of them. I'm sure I missed some. Yeah, it wasn't too much of an issue. I would still rather have something screened in. That way I just didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff because it is a pain in the butt. It takes a lot of time. Dean Stevenson says going to do anything with koi, Lucas. So yes, definitely, definitely. Big reason why I moved down here was to be able to do stuff with koi and have a proper space. It's just if I keep koi, I want them in a protected area. After I lost all my beautiful koi to a little tiny mink, I just don't feel safe about keeping koi unprotected outside. So, one day, definitely, definitely. Ideally, what I would love is out in the backyard, is have like that screened in thing that Florida does. I can't remember. What are those called, Sarah? A lanai? And then have like a koi swimming pond, like one that beaches up that I can go and swim out with the koi. I think that would be awesome. Have like a wetland filter and stuff in there. That would be like the ideal koi setup for me. I would only put like so many in there, so I say. But you know, to where it's like you feel safe swimming with them. Aquarium Fantasies says, Lucas, how are you feeling after that big scare? If you guys haven't seen it, my last video about how my fish tank almost killed me. If you guys haven't seen it, quite the story. About died. You know, kind of interesting because you know it wasn't my first like scare. Like, yeah, I about died, but at the same time, like I've been there a few times, and it does always make you like rethink your life on bigger scales, on mini scales. And so, you know, it triggers that kind of stuff, and that's kind of what I focus more on than anything. Rebooting myself, reanalyzing myself. Just a reminder that I need to connect with you guys more too. Get a lot more of these videos out sooner and later. And yeah, it's not always promised. At the same time, I suffer through winter depression, so It was kind of giving me the choice of, yeah, you can let go. Let's see if you can let go. I was like, I can't let go. Let's see. Zen OI says update on the lime green endlers. So I've got lime green endlers. I don't know if they're on the site, but I do have them to check the numbers. Randy Coach says, hey Lucas, I lost both my male rainbow tiger endlers. I'm stuck with a few females. Will there be any more rainbow tiger endlers available soon? Send us an email. We can take care of you. Um, I've got some back and I'll get you taken care of. Yeah, Pondarium. There you go. Koi pond and greenhouse. Yeah, I would see like the koi pond would do all right out here, like through winter and everything. Shoot, it probably wouldn't be that hard to heat either. Because I don't know if you guys ever looked into like internal line heaters for hot tubs and pools and stuff. They're kind of pricey, but at the same time, it would be kind of luxury. Go out there and swim with the koi in the middle of the cold. Probably be pretty pricey too. I don't know. What would be? Who did? He did, Johnny. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that, Johnny. Like I can't see that for some reason they will not show it to me on my end. But thankfully, Lady LRB let me know. Thank you, Billy. Or Johnny. I was reading Billy. All right. Yeah, I would like with the lanai to be able to like close it up for winter. That would be cool. But then, like, what do you do with all that product that you need to cover it up with, like twin wall polycarbonate or something? Like to be able to to be able to close that up would be cool, but at the same time, like you have to take that down and store it somewhere because in the summertime you're gonna want that open, you're gonna want that sunshine, you know. Yeah, Billy, you about stole that valor. But yes, thank you, Johnny Bass. Thank you. Spec V Turbo says, Lucas, have you thought about doing shade tunnels out of PVC with shade cloth and putting the tubs under those to keep out pests? They're pretty cheap to make and serve a dual purpose, temps and pests. So they do, I have thought about it, and you can only keep so much out with those. I'm sure frogs and other things are going to wiggle their ways in, especially like fire ants. Fire ants is one of the things too here. Now, if I were to like, I don't know, concrete and it's expensive. So it's like, where are you going to put your money into? The concrete or into the walls? Because fire ants around the tubs, and if you just stand there and you don't realize they're there and they get on your ankles, that sucks. But I have thought about that, and they'd have to be pretty tall. The only problem is to the hurricanes. So hurricanes coming, and they come quite often, it seems. I find it would be maybe a headache to mess with. So one reason why I haven't like really put too much thought towards that and more into like maybe something more with walls. Now for breeding purposes, like doing walls and some polycarbonate or something to where it is like a greenhouse wouldn't be too bad. Because it's nothing to put like some poles into the ground and then frame it out. And then, well, the roof would be my biggest problem, just because I ain't never really built much for roofs. But can't be that hard. House of Pisces says, "Are the eyes on the paludarium now?" No, but that would be funny. That would be funny. I was half tempted to do the live in front of the paludarium, but I don't know. Maybe we'll test it again. Maybe not on a Friday. Maybe we'll do maybe we can do a test this weekend. We'll see. Maybe Sunday. Oh yeah, it's in. Sure. You could either email us about the lime green endlers and let us know what you want, and we can set you up on the order list that way. And or you could wait till not this Monday but next Monday for me to update the website. So I just can't update it yet. Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we want to build out here. Have you ever cared for pagoda snails? Are those like rabbit snails? Aquarium Fantasy says, Lucas, when do you start putting fish back outside in the ponds? So once I see like a nice week coming up to where I would say, okay, I'm looking at the months, probably the end of March. I would say probably towards April in Florida, it's pretty safe to start putting fish out there. And I'll put like more cold tolerant ones first. And just because even if there is this cold spell for a little while, depending on what I put out there, and it's going to take time to move stuff out too. So, as long as it's not a long freeze, should be all right. And they get enough warmth. Johnny Best says, "What can I feed these little white bugs in my aquarium to keep the numbers up?" So, are they the Daphnia or like the copepods? So, if they're like the copepods or like the cyclops, the like little seed shrimp, extra food just will help feed those. And they'll only get to like a certain limit. They won't get into like a limit that they will just like absolutely like fill up the tank. Like it may seem like there's a lot, but it's normally like just in a concentration. They will. It's not like Daphnia where you can just like blow up a tank of Daphnia and just have it everywhere. Those seed shrimp are a bit harder to get those numbers up like that, even with the Daphnia food and stuff. Mm. But I would say the what Flip Aquatics has as far as like he's got this Daphnia food. That would be a good choice. Actually, need to make a video about that for you guys. It's actually like my product of 2024. You guys know me; I don't hardly use products for anything, but this Daphnia food has been awesome. Because one of the biggest problems with having Daphnia is keeping Daphnia alive unless you got green water. And this stuff I've been using works really good. Kelly Ehrich, always good to see you in here, Kelly. 8-gallon, no filter, well watered, tons of plants. One betta, 8 blue dream shrimp, replacing about an inch of water every 2 to 4 days. Still need water changes. Also, any advice the shrimp hide under leaves? I mean, if you want to do water changes, you can, but you don't have to. In a setup like that with one betta, 8 blue dreams, 8 gallons, top offs will last you for a long time. But if you want to give it a little freshy fresh, then it's really up to you when the fish and shrimp aren't in line. Cold in Arizona, Jessica. Jeez. That's where I'm going, right? In April in Arizona? Yeah. What is the Saki, the killifish convention here in April? I need to get the dates and actual like time for that stuff. Kelly Erich says a couple shrimp have died, but parameters are good. They get fed to, and the tank has plenty of snails, a lot of little bugs and such. The guppy grass would have encouraged them to come out. Yeah, snails with the betta, bettas and shrimp. I mean, that's a rough combo. Um, the betta could just be harassing the shrimp, cause of death or old age. I don't know. Hard to tell. But, it never hurts to do a little water change. I don't think it's what's killing your fish or shrimp, but yeah, it's so risky keeping shrimp with bettas. Billy Villa says anyone here ever try keeping orandas with guppies? I'm thinking of doing an egg crate divider and just letting them catch a couple of snakes. Oh, it's 135 by the way. Yeah, if it can fit in the mouth, they will eat it. Might not get much numbers out of them, but they could definitely eat them. I've never done it with guppies. I'm sure in a big enough tank, you could have them all living together. Jessica Hussey, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Appreciate that, Jessica. Oh, glad to hear you're having success there. Scroom juice with the Sumigule luminatus eggs. Small colony of 13 adults produced 34 eggs. It's always exciting. Johnny Best, thank you so much for your super chat and support as well. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. EJ says, who has any threadfin rainbows? Been looking for some here around South Texas. If anybody can help EJ out, feel free. Spec V Turbo says, Lucas, I have 2 ponds in upstate New York I built. What cold water fish could I put in them to breed and overwinter if that's possible? Ooh, and New York's kind of tough. Oh, they are about 12 foot deep? Because the first thing I was going towards was the ice. If they completely freeze over, um, kind of hard to pick stuff for them. But if they're 12 foot deep, and if it did ice over, what could you keep in there? I would say definitely anything native. But as far as in the fish hobby, I don't even know if rice fish would do all right under the ice completely like that. No, I can't remember in Indianapolis. I kind of feel like mine went all the way underneath the ice. So you could at least keep rice fish out there. Besides that, really don't know. I'm not like a cold water specialist. There is a guy on YouTube though called Cold Water Aquatics or something like that. Actually, a pretty good guy. A couple times. So I don't know if anybody's got options for Spec V Turbo. Let them out. I'll read them out if I see them. Ty Llewellyn says, Lucas, have you kept dojo loaches outside? I've added a couple in the greenhouse tub. They doubled in size in 6 weeks. Dojo loaches are cool. I've never actually personally had one though. I've never actually personally had one. I got a buddy who just vouches for them like crazy. You guys may know him, Dustin's Fish Tanks. I know that's like his favorite fish is the dojo loach, and they do get pretty big. I've heard good things about them, just never kept them. Mr. What's in the Cooler says just branch your tree out, and when you breed back, go to the furthest branches out. No. So are you talking about genetics? So yeah, branch your tree out, and then keep it as far as possible from the original. That's with most fishes. Now with like guppies and things that you're trying to strain out, it's a little different because you do try to go for certain mutations and stuff. So the tree twists itself up every once in a while. Say it in a nutshell. Johnny Best says, "Is there a natural way to make green water?" So yeah, the best way to make green water is you can take like some guppy grass, mash it, or just grass from the yard, or like green um, vegetable matter, lettuce even. Put it in water. Put a lot of light on that. Like run it pretty much. I would say 16 plus hours, or probably even do it with 12. But just a lot of high light into some water in a tank with a lot of chlorophyll in it. And as that breaks down, it should start creating the green water for you. And a lot of people do them in like 2 gallon bottles, or the 2 liter bottles, like the pop bottles. Some people do whole tanks, but even still, it's hard to like keep that green water up, keep your Daphnia up, because what will happen is, one, you got to constantly like pour the green water in to feed the Daphnia. And if you don't, the Daphnia can crash. So if there's any hiccup in that discipline, then there goes your green water, and maybe there goes your Daphnia. Daphnia does pretty good at surviving for a while without it, as long as there's no fish to eat them. And I don't know, having that Daphnia food and just being able to sprinkle it in it is just so much easier than trying to keep all that green water up, because it does become a process. Hi, kitty. Getty Nona says use pickle jars. Yeah, that would be good actually. That way you can like set them up like this day, this day, this day. You don't necessarily got to feed them every day, because that green water will stay quite a while into your tank, depending on how many Daphnia you got in there. Yeah, I need to do an update video on all that stuff. Could probably add all that into those videos. Anyways, lots of videos to make, that's for sure. Lots of topics. Mario Valesco says, "Hey Lucas, how do you determine the sex of goldfish? I have a couple of fancies, just wondering why they are." So that's actually a really good question, and I do not know that myself. So that is one thing I've been meaning to look up myself, because now that I do got goldfish breeding, I've been looking at some of the like really nice goldfish, thinking, "Ooh, what can I do here?" So I don't know. So if anybody knows in the chat, let us know what the difference is on how to sex goldfish. Like, what would tell us one's male and female? Thank you, Johnny Bass, for mentioning that. Says, "Let's show Lucas love and hit the like button." He put the question mark behind that. He knew I would read it. But I love you, Johnny, for doing that, because it made me say it, and always looking out. Thank you, buddy. And holy cow, any fish will do. Thank you so much for your $10 super chat. Any fish will do. Says, "Hey Lucas, hope you're doing well. Speaking of well, how about some super chats for well fun? Super deep well, order a descaler, keep you updated on how it works." Oh, you ordered a descaler? Interesting. Is that like one of the ones that uses the electrics to break up the ions and stuff? And thank you for that, and remembering that I even need a deep well, because that is like so priority for me. I cannot wait. Like, it's gonna make a huge difference. Yeah, that is kind of, yeah. I'll be interested to hear how that does for you. Any fish will do. But thank you again for that super chat. All right, thank you for that. Scroll, scroll, scroll. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions there. Queen Blood of Ghosting says, "Do you have tiny pods in your tank, like the little copial pods?" Yeah, mostly like in shrimp tanks and like tanks that don't have fish. Put fish in them, and they pretty much they're gone. But take your fish out, they'll come back. If that's what you mean by pods. Johnny Best, if not, I don't know what you mean by pods. Unless like a botanical or something. Johnny Best says, I still have Japan lily plant from order. How do you propagate? So you could either float it or plant it, and it kind of propagates off of itself. I think it propagates better if you plant it because it will root down and then it will like send off its leaves, and then its leaves will kind of turn into another plant, and it kind of multiplies itself by doing that. EJ says, I see you keep Glossolepis maculosus. Have you kept the Erythrina werneri before? Yeah, ain't that the like threadfin rainbow? I have. I've bred them too. They don't like put out very big numbers or anything. SpecV Turbo says, Lucas, what's the best plant to have grow out of an aquarium besides pothos? Want some different variety besides pothos growing everywhere like crazy? Maybe some different runners. So there is a lot of different types of pothos, I know. And then if you go into my videos of 10 plus, type in LRB 10 plus unusual floaters, or just type in LRB unusual floaters. And it talks about all kinds of different aquarium plants that you can actually grow up and out that people don't usually think of. And it shows all the examples through my tanks of when I used to do that a lot. I mean, I still do it now with some, but not as much as I used to, just because I'm not organized like that anymore. Organized in different ways. Oh, Ish Lopez says breeding tubercles, which are small white bumps that appear on the mature male. That's for the goldfish. Males get breeding stars on their gills. Almost looks like ink. Huh. All goldfish have breeding stars on their face and front fins. Females have bigger abdomen. Interesting, interesting. And Dino Sauce says, I was into houseplants for years before this. Get into aeroids, specifically anthuriums. You guys want to know how to spell that? You guys gotta have to look at the chat. Aquarium Fantasy says, Lucas, how deep do you want your well? I think I can't remember. I think a deep well goes at least 100 feet. I think here 100 feet would be pretty suffice. Because yeah, I think a shallow well is only like 10 feet or something. It doesn't go much more than that. I think that's right. 100 foot. So I think 100 foot should be good. I want to get it down in that primo water, sitting underneath all the top layer water. Artesian water. All right, scroll. All right, I don't see any more questions. We are over the hour mark. And appreciate all you guys joining us for this Friday night live Q&A. My ASMR voice. My monotone. Aquarium Fantasy says, Lucas, how much does a well that deep cost? So usually about 10K, but dude mentioned he could do it for 7,500, so that's a chunk of change. It's going to take a lot of fish and shrimp. A lot. But, you know, I built that whole barn up. And I just got to keep working. So I appreciate you guys all joining me and helping us with our aquariums. Because really, without you guys, would not and could not be doing this. And I appreciate you all for joining me. Oh, Mayhem Fish, you just got in here at the end. Kudos, signing off. But good luck with your school. I hope it goes great. See you guys. Peace. Dun, 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 dun.